And welcome to Game Central Junction, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer, which we are actually all in the same building this time. It's been, I don't know. It's always hectic over here. You never know where anybody's going to be. But we've got a lot to talk. Were you here? I don't even remember.
I think maybe not. I don't know.
But you might have started in the car or something. Something or other.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's true. Ready?
Yeah. But we've got a lot to talk about. A lot of news, a lot of game stuff. Some things interesting. Some things, I don't know. It depends on you. It may not be. But that's why we're here. We're here to surprise you. Or not so much, because you could probably already guess what we're going to talk about anytime anyway. So if you enjoy the show, please share it out with some other people who would be surprised because maybe they just don't know the show. They can't know what we're going to talk about if they don't know us. And if you really enjoy the show, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. Really helps us out. And actually, Flit's already got one of the things we're going to be talking about in the chat. Hey, Flit. It says, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. The last few days, my timeline has been filled with posts telling me that it is, but not what it is. AstroTurf hype or worth looking into? Well, I'll answer that right now, actually. That could be the first topic we get into because I'm excited for Clear Obscure Expedition 33, which has a very mouthful of a name.
Excuse me one moment.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just yap. Very mouthful of a name, which only makes me like it more because I like bizarre names. It is a French RPG. I saw some people joking that is the first true JRPG, which grammatically doesn't make sense for French, but it's funny. It's a French RPG that is inspired by JRPGs that uses kind of a realistic-esque look to it. It's not completely realistic. It's not that stylized either. But I think it still looks good. It doesn't look uncanny. It's just stylized enough not to look uncanny. Yeah. Kind of like the way that Black Myth Wukong was just stylized enough to not look uncanny. And Clear Obscure is a turn-based RPG that uses quick time events and other reactionary mechanics in the middle of combat, not too dissimilar from games like any Mario RPG or Legend of Dragoon, where you're interacting with combat, or the South Park RPGs are both that way too. The story is very interesting from what I've seen so far, and it's kind of almost touting itself to be the Dark Souls of turn-based RPGs. And normally, I don't like it when people throw around that title of this is the Dark Souls of this or this is the Dark Souls of that. But in some ways, this game actually fits that. So I think it might be one of the few times it's appropriate. They have different difficulty modes that you could play through if you don't want to completely suffer. Maybe you're just not that apt at RPGs that have reaction systems. They have a story mode, which is like the easiest mode. I just want to play through the story. They have like a normal difficulty and an expert level difficulty as well. But from what I've seen already, if you do these side challenges, you're pretty much playing on expert mode regardless, and each difficulty just makes them hit even harder. So you do have to react on the side challenges, but you could go through the main story, no problem, if that's all you're interested in. Yeah. Flit says realistic Final Fantasy does throw me off.
Yeah, it does look very Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit bizarre for a turn-based RPG be compared to Dark Souls when it's like, but you know. The one-hit kills, I guess, maybe?
Yeah. Like, if you don't learn the patterns of the things you're fighting, you don't dodge when you need to dodge or parry when you should parry, which I don't know if there's some things that will require one or the other, because there is a dodge and parry reaction. It's not just the singular block reaction that a Mario RPG has. I haven't seen if there are bosses that require certain moves to either be dodged or parried. From what I've seen, you can do either, and you benefit more for timing the parry than you do for the dodge. And there's certain equipment that will be like, oh, well, if you're wearing this equipment, you're actually going to benefit more from dodging than you will from parrying, especially if you get a perfect dodge off, which is even better timing, like at the very last second.
Do you want me to play the launch trailer?
Oh, sure, if you want, while we talk about it.
It does look beautiful. It looks
really
interesting.
I mean, aesthetically,
how hard it is.
It is not my cup of tea usually.
It is very Dark Souls.
But it definitely has that very surrealistic feeling that the Souls games give you. So they're definitely leaning in that direction in general.
There's some eldritch horror-looking creatures, and I guess the fact that you can like dodge and stuff in battle, even though it's turn-based, kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's got a lot of things that you're familiar from other RPGs. It does not have random encounters. You can see where the encounters are. So it does have attack of opportunity, which I don't remember which game was the first RPG to have attack of opportunity, but I know Mario RPG on the SNES had it pretty early on. The Persona games, SMT games have them too, though I don't think they were there in the earliest Mega 10 games because they were kind of random encounter. But the later ones,
you could surprise people in or enemies in Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah. But it not like how Mario RPGs and like Mega 10 games have attack of opportunity, where it's because the creature is out there in the field. It's like how Star Rail has attack of opportunity. You can attack them first before going into battle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if you really want to go back, I don't remember which one was the first, but one of the TSR Dungeons and Dragons Gold Box games had that, where you would see an enemy ahead, and if they're like not looking your way, you could run up and attack them before.
Okay, yeah, then that would definitely predate Super Mario RPG. At the time that was the only one I could think of. But yeah, so we can go even further back to that. Flit says, say what you will about the French, they understand Japanese media more than anyone, and they're better at mixing it with Western media than anyone. That, yeah, I would agree. You see that a lot with their animation as well. I'm trying to get us back onto Just Us. Here we go. And like I could think of something like Code Lyoko is a good example of them mixing some of that stuff with Western media. Totally Spies had a very almost like anime look to it. Fitzchosa's been playing XCOM. Hard as hell. He lost his first playthrough. Well, welcome to XCOM. That's everybody's experience. And, it's almost like a rite of passage. But yeah, it's...
what was that game? Oh, okay.
Well, don't lose your thought. I'll remember to get us back on track.
I was going to say, you were talking about a game that was the same every time you played, but like the first time you played through, there's almost no chance that you would figure out all the mechanics the first
that
time.
Was the PlayStation 2 Breath of Fire game, right? Because you started off like at the bottom of this abyss, these like mines, and you were trying to get all the way to the top, but you also had this like calamity meter, this percentage that you were trying to keep down, and if at any point it hit 100%, the character would just turn into a dragon and kill everybody. So you're trying to get to the surface before this calamity meter or whatever. I don't even fully remember. I just remember my brother having the hardest time playing that game as a kid. And it was almost nothing like the rest of the Breath of Fire games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I played earlier Breath of Fire games, but I never played that one. Intriguing. But But anyway, it's you know how hard it is for me to get into new IPs.
Yeah.
This one does look very interesting, but you know, I don't know. Maybe if it's on sale.
I think it's easier to get into it when it's a standalone title. It's like it's not asking you to get invested into a whole franchise or anything. It's just like a movie you could watch and be done with it afterwards.
True. I wonder. Well, maybe it'll be on PlayStation Plus.
Maybe. Yeah, if it's a modern American animators and game devs just think, I watched Sailor Moon and DBZ and played a Zelda game, so I know everything about anime and JRPGs. It's funny, I don't actually know if they ever sold it this way in Japan itself, because I've never looked at the language of the Japanese ads, but Zelda on many American ads when it first came out was being sold as a role-playing game.
Yeah, I remember. Although it was, I guess an action role-playing game. Is that the first action role?
First action RPG? Sure, because you did increment throughout the game too, and you're playing the role of Link, trying to go through this campaign to save the princess. I think it's fairer to call it that, but it's kind of just become its own branch of things. But a lot of modern action RPGs are based off of Zelda stuff, so it's still kind of the grandpappy of it in many ways.
Yeah, and I'd say the second one is even more so because you actually raise levels, get more life, magic, and attack as you go.
Yeah, but the cool thing about this game, or there's a lot of cool things about this game, is it is the first RPG I've ever seen that has a free aim system in the game. So when you're in a turn, like when a character's turn is up, they have so many like action points, AP, that you have been accumulating by taking actions like just regularly attacking. You increment up AP, but then by using skills or anything else, you use AP, like a mana system in a way. Not too different than like the skill points in Star Rail or any other game that has an action point system. But one of the things you can do is you can use your projectile. The main character, Gustav, has a gun. One of the other characters uses magic. Like there's a bunch of different options, and you can actually target. It changes to, I don't think it's first person. I think it's like a very near over-the-shoulder third person. But you aim a cursor for a weak spot, and you can use your action points to shoot the weak spot and do like a huge chunk of damage or reduce the defense of the monster. And because of this, you can actually take multiple actions in a turn. You can aim and use a skill if you have enough skill points left.
Okay. Well, I like the fact that it has the sort of turn, I don't know what you call it, the thing on the left side that
the turn order system. Some people also call like an action value system. Yeah.
Yeah. Means he who's coming up. Always drove me nuts.
Your initiative order.
Next round comes along. Yeah. Next round comes along, and you have no idea who's going to go first. So, especially if you're fighting multiple enemies.
Yeah.
This one was really. It was kind of hyped up, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. We talked about it when it first dropped on. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was it Summer Games Fest, or it was some like announcement show? This was wedged in with a bunch of other things.
Yeah, it looked interesting when we first saw it, but
it's got a name that is hard to remember until you actually get into it.
Right? Yeah. Because when we talked about it the second time, I was like, "What's this game again? Something 33."
The Clear Obscure part is smaller. Almost like it, so maybe there will be other games in the series, and the series name is Clair Obscure, and this is the first one. Everybody's referring to it as Expedition 33, though. It's a lot easier to remember, or E33 for short. Though I've actually seen some people go X33 because of Expedition. People can't decide what they want to call it shorthand yet. I'm sure that'll be ironed out within a few months of whatever prevails in discussion. But yeah. It's made by 30 people.
But so is it based on novels or something? Like
no, I think it's an original property.
hey, we decided, okay, so we
Yeah.
decided we're just going to do this group of games that are all going to be some Claire Obscure something something.
Maybe. I think they just branded it. They have not thought further than that as far as I know. If this is successful, we might see other Claire Obscure games. It's a very French title, for sure. You know.
Yeah.
And Flit, no, I do not believe that was the first open world RPG. I mean, technically, Ultima is an open world RPG, and you know,
That is true.
and that's older.
Yeah. Ultima 1 from, like, what was that, 1982 or something? That was definitely open world. Now, if you want to say console, I mean, did Hydlide come out before Zelda or after? Probably.
I don't know. Interesting question.
Or Dragon Quest? Sort
I
of.
think Dragon Quest is open world, but I thought the original Zelda came out before Dragon Quest. I'm not actually sure. The internet would know.
Probably. Because Zelda was a launch title for the NES.
Was it? I know it was really early on. I wasn't sure if it was launch or not, but I thought it was within the first or second year.
Not. No, I guess not, because it didn't come out until February of '86.
That's still kind of within the time frame I thought it came out in.
Yeah, it was kind of in the launch window.
Mm-hmm.
No, and Dragon Quest was a few months later.
Okay. So yeah, it still beat out Dragon Quest.
Might have been. Question is, when did Phantasy Star 1?
Oh, I don't know. I would assume afterwards. It'd have to come after Dragon Quest because you could see the obvious inspiration in it. But of course, you could also see Ultima inspiration. Phantasy Star kind of takes from both of them.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell because the remake came out later. I don't know. We don't have to look that up. I'm almost certain that came out later.
But there's a lot of really cool things about it. It does have a traditional elemental affinity system that is very similar to Final Fantasy. If you've played any Final Fantasy game, even if you've played the turn-based or the tabletop game that we've been playing, it uses the exact same system where you get 50% more damage if you have the elemental advantage, 50% less if it's resistant to it. It's got a immunity and absorb system too, where either cancels out completely or gains health because it can absorb whatever element you're using. Very, very simple one. Even the basic spells, you could tell that Final Fantasy was the influence on that one. You've got a lightning, an ice, and a fire spell, like almost right off the bat.
Yeah. And the main character is voiced by Charlie Cox.
Yes, he is. Daredevil.
Believe that?
Gustav.
Oh, that I was thinking Charlie Day. That would be a slightly different voice.
No. It was Charlie Cox's Daredevil. He was also in Stardust. Good actor.
Yeah.
Mr. Matt
And
Murdock.
Andy Serkis is in it.
Yeah, I think he plays a bad guy from what I could tell.
Call him. Looks like. Well, maybe. His name is Renoir. It sounds like he's one of the. Looks like you can get a lot of party members. It's hard to tell.
Or at least, like, I think
I don't know the
he
story yet.
was framed as a bad guy from the start. We haven't gotten that far in yet.
Yeah.
If it says turn-based RPGs are great and get way too much hate these days, old man yells at cloud JPEG. I agree. They're one of my favorite genres of games. I love turn-based RPGs. That's why I'm excited for this one. And what I really hope is that this one does well enough to yell at Square that you can have a high fidelity, is what they're calling it, game that is a turn-based RPG. Because even, who was it? It was Yoshi P said that he'd be totally interested in producing a turn-based Final Fantasy again, but he doesn't feel that the high-fidelity games, they call it the Advent Children look that they've been doing for a long time, would fit that in the modern day, which I think is weird because they were already trying to get to that look forever. Final Fantasy X was an attempt at that. It just didn't hit it. And they didn't get there until 13, but 13 had that look to it. And that was more or less a turn-based RPG with some different finagles here and there.
Frankly, I think Final Fantasy 12 was even more realistic and high fidelity. It's
in some ways.
PS2, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it had some limitations, but it seemed a lot more realistic and dark and gritty than 13, I thought.
But ever since 10, they were really... I mean, actually, you could argue 8, they were really trying to hit that, right? From 8 on, they were trying to hit that high fidelity. 9 kind of went backwards. They went with more of that chibi cartoon look. But 8 and then 10 on, they've been trying to do that. So I don't know why they couldn't do that again. And this Expedition 33 is a perfect example of when it works. Yakuza Like a Dragon was another example of where it works in a turn-based RPG. And these games just need to be successful enough so people can call Square out on their bullshit and convince them to start making good games again.
Yeah, I mean, I played, I got to get back to it eventually, maybe years from now. But I played the beginning of Final Fantasy 16, and that would have made a great turn-based RPG.
It would have.
But they
well, I
decided
mean,
to go with
the story at the end would still be
whatever the hell
shit,
it was.
but I mean, the game overall would probably be better.
Yeah.
I think actually you could say the same about both 15 and 16. The story at the end would have still been shit, but the game overall would have probably been better.
Yeah.
Also, hey Mike, thanks for the like and share.
That's what I care about. Who cares about story? I just care about the gameplay.
Well, it's an RPG, so the story actually is a very important part of selling a role-playing game to you, because even if you're not designing your role, it's not trying to give you the type of Elder Scrolls or Baldur's Gate style experience. You're given a role, and if you want to enjoy the role you're playing, the story needs to be engaging, which is something most role-playing games have done well historically. You know, you go to any company that was competing back in the day, and they were all pumping out pretty engaging stories. Sometimes they'd flub it at the end, but the story would be engaging throughout. So far, this is an engaging story with Expedition 33. The main premise is that they are in this like weird world. It's a very surreal world. But every year, this painter, I can't remember this, like Picto or something, but this painter comes down from the heavens, or just like apparates, giant creature, and it writes a number on this monolith that you can see in the far distance. And every year it basically ticks down by 1, and it's been going on for the last 67 years. So it started at like 100, and this year it went from 34 to 33. Every single time that number changes, everyone that age disappears. They get like Thanos snapped into dust and petals, which also means if you age to there too, it's like it's putting an age limit on humanity every single year, and it gets lower each year too, which meaning you're racing towards extinction. And for many years, they've been sending out expeditions to try to solve this problem, and you are a part of the 33rd expedition.
Yeah. So every year, like 2 years worth of people disappear.
More or less, yeah.
It's weird. So everyone in the game is only 33 or less?
Yep. There were people who were 34, but you actually start at that day where the painter comes down, and Gustav, the like main character, loses his love interest. And that's kind of what kicks you off into the story.
Man, these people are a rough 33. They got some mouth on them. I was like, This guy looks like the Renoir guy. I don't know if he's a bad guy or not, but he looks like he's 50.
That's the thing. When they first, the Renoir guy, which I'm pretty sure is why I said he might be a bad guy. When they first meet this guy, they're off on the expedition, and they run into an old man who looks like he's much older. Like they're asking, how did you survive the thing? And the second the guy asked him, he just takes the dude's head clean off. and they get attacked by like monsters and stuff, and pretty much everyone in the expedition except for Gustav and I can't remember her name, the other girl that's like his age. There's two of them that survive. And they're basically trying to complete the expedition together. They end up running into, I think she's Gustav's younger sister, Mael, also shows up. And you slowly accumulate a party that goes on this over time. And Mael, I think she's 16. I think the website might even have her age. Gustav said you've got 9 years left to live, which if you say, okay, so it's got to be 33 minus 9, and then like there's the overlap year, but then another minus 9 for her to make it to that age. So she'll die at the age of 24.
Right.
Yeah.
So multiply by 2, I guess. Yeah, the website does say she's 16.
Yeah.
So is Gustav 33?
Yes, he's on the year.
Yeah, this guy's older. Someone named Verso, who I guess could be someone who's closely tracking the expedition.
And there's also like there's cool little things. So they have their own equivalent of Moogles or whatever mascot character that a game normally has. And they've got these little paintbrush guys that are just like walking, moving paintbrushes. And they talk really weird. They talk almost like they're speaking the language, but it's like really quick and jumbled up. So you can kind of make out words sometimes, but really you have to read the screen to understand what they're saying. And sometimes they're merchants. Sometimes you will fight them to try to unlock a secret item in the shop. It's like you have to duel them before they'll respect you and let you buy this item in their shop. And it's quirky. Right. It's serious, but it's quirky at the same time, which is exactly what I want from my turn-based RPGs, because almost every good RPG in the past had basically Shakespearean writing, where the plot would be serious, but in between, it didn't take itself too seriously. It would have comedic relief and other fun things.
Right. Apparently there's I guess the big bad guy is called the Paintress?
Yeah, the Paintress, that's it, yeah. It's a guy who keeps writing the number every single year.
Woman or something?
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's just like a giant thing in the background. Like nobody's ever gotten a really good look at it.
Well, it does have like what is she writing this on? It looks like a big tree, like a.
Yeah, it's something. They just call it like a monolith, but it's like a big, either tree or rock or some face way off in the distance that is big enough that you could see it for miles away in every direction. It's like on the other side of the continent.
Yep.
They also there's a lot of oh, what did they say?
I was going to say that the Paintress is painting death, so there's definitely suggesting that when they lower the number that everyone above that age dies.
Oh yeah.
I guess it appeared.
But apparently, given by that Renard person, that that's not always the case for everything. There might be something special about him. He may not be totally human for all we know, but apparently you can survive it or live to older age in special circumstances. I haven't gotten that far. Like I said, I've seen maybe 6 hours of gameplay so far. So, and it's an RPG, so 6 hours of gameplay can give you a really good feeling for something, but you don't learn shit about the story in 6 hours. This game could be 100 hours long for all I know.
Flit Amaranth in the chat says you too can write numbers in the donation box.
That's true.
We gave the link. Thank you very much.
Except these numbers go up, not down. Hopefully, I don't know how it would go the other direction. I guess you could get a refund, but I don't think it would tell the system, so it would just be lying to people then.
Well, according to SteamDB, it is second most trending game. Currently, about 35,000 players.
Right after Oblivion?
Yeah, 1,000. Right after Oblivion.
Yeah,
well,
that's what
not
I'd
right
forget.
after. It's way behind Oblivion.
Uh,
It's 35,000. Oblivion players now is almost 175,000.
yeah, and a lot of the staff for that game at Bethesda too were worried that they were basically going to overshadow Expedition, and they've been championing it too. Like, hey, you guys should really go out and try this game. Bethesda basically telling people to go and support their competition, but it's like they know they're going to sell
nice.
their game, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's nice because
Yeah.
it does look like a really good game. It's nice of them to say, "Hey, this other thing came out too. You know, we know you love Elder Scrolls."
It looks really fun, which is the most important part of a game. Is it's not whether it's just interesting, though interesting helps. It looks really fun. They've got like grappling hooks that you can use to get through the world, like grappling points. You can run really fast. The world that feels like a world that you're traversing, and then you have your RPG battles in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's got interesting upgrade systems. So it kind of uses an attribute system, not to dislike the RPG, the tabletop Final Fantasy we were playing, where you increase an attribute and then it'll increase your stats. So it's got 5 main attributes that's like vitality, might, defense, agility, and luck. And by increasing these, you'll see your stats go up. So every time you level, you'll have some points that you can dump in, which is cool. You can kind of control how your characters get strong. I like that. You can do builds. You can even unlock respec tokens if you're not happy with your character builds that seem to be in limited supply, but more than enough for you to actually change things later on in the game if you're not happy.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And hey, it's not $80, so
No, it's like it's $50 on consoles, $45 on Steam from what I saw.
that's what it looks. Yeah, and it's
Supporting
I don't know how they
small
rate.
devs,
Yeah. I guess this is based on ratings of people watching, but it's like the number one hottest releases by rating.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, the ratings seem to be pretty
Very
good
cool.
for it. I mean, some people have been trying to brag about the reviews of it so far. I wouldn't, because of all the outlets they're showing. There's this picture on there that looks identical to what's that one? Elden Ring, right? Where it's got all the 9s and 10s out of 10s on there from the different outlets. And this game might actually deserve it. It's hard to tell. Like, I'd have to play it. But yeah, it's all those outfits. Like, you see IGN on there giving it a 10 out of 10. It's like, yeah, but a 10 out of 10 from IGN doesn't mean jack shit.
Well, it's pretty good since it seems like they score everything a 7.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every game has to do that. They get really,
Yeah.
really good ratings. Yeah.
So they seem to be really trying to connect with the fans. I wish I had known this earlier. If you are some type of reporting outlet or whatever, they said they don't even care about your size, just as long as you're willing to properly cover it. They were giving out early release keys on different systems. Like, man, I should have contacted them. They also have like cosplay guides of like, hey, here's what individual pieces look like without being obscured by the other to help people cosplay. Because everybody knows this is the best way to advertise, is to connect directly with the community. You make more money doing this, so you might as well be on good terms with your potential fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Flit thinks that they released Oblivion to cockblock this game.
I would probably agree with that if they weren't trying to make such a big stink of having other people play it. But I don't know. Maybe they're trying to cover their tails there, right?
Yeah, they felt guilty about it. They're like, well, we didn't know our game would sell this much more.
Yeah. There's some people saying that it has Game of the Year potential, which it might deserve Game of the Year. Very possibly, especially being from such a small team to be able to make a game that looks this good. Turn-based RPGs, or RPGs in general, but turn-based RPGs, with the exception of like Baldur's Gate, tend to struggle in the Game of the Year category. So maybe with Baldur's Gate's success, we might even start to see a change of that, but historically, they've struggled in that category.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, definitely shoo-ins for RPG of the year anyway.
Yeah. One of the other characters, Mayel, is voiced by Jennifer English, who was in Baldur's Gate. She played Shadowheart. She was also in Wuthering Waves, which is more of the voice I was familiar with her on. But honestly, I can't stand her performance in Wuthering Waves. I don't blame her. I don't blame any of the actors for their performance in Wuthering Waves. I don't like the way most people sound in that, and I blame it a direction/editing problem with that game. I remember very early on in one of the dungeons in 1.0 for Wuthering Waves, your rover flying through these archives, and you can hear it. If you're listening, you can hear one take get clipped in the middle of the sentence to put another take there that made the sentence sound even more flat than it probably would have otherwise. So I don't trust that they're taking the best takes from the actors, and that's why they're not as expressive. In this game, though, wonderfully expressive, even from the short amount of time that I've heard her voiceover. Most British actors are actually pretty good. A lot of them come out of theater. It's just it's direction. At the end of the day, it's usually always direction. A director can screw up even the best performances.
Right.
But I mean, all of it, everything's been expressive. It's one of the things I've always had an issue with people trying to do darker looking games or more realistic looking games, is the acting tends to be flatter because they want them to sound and feel more like real people. And that's not what I want from my games. That's not even really what I want from acting in general, unless I'm watching like a found footage or like a mockumentary or something. What I want is a theater experience, like that Shakespearean experience these stories used to give. I want the acting to reflect that. And in this game, the voice acting does reflect the story that we're looking at and the surreal experience that we're getting. So that's good. That's a really good note.
Yeah. Are there any of the horrible VAs that we know?
I don't think so. I think this is all... Well, because it's a French game, so all of the English acting are like British actors or people from the UK.
Oh, okay.
And then obviously the native dub is the French dub. But if you're France and you're thinking of English, well, you're thinking of your closest neighbor, where the language comes from.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like actors in a lot of these games have British accents for some reason.
Even if they're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of the same people. I think Jennifer English was also in Elden Ring. It's a lot of the same people that do the dubs for those games. Yeah. And they've got like some top actors. Like you said, Charlie Cox and Andy Serkis are in it. So.
Yeah. They're both British, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. I mean, Cox is a British last name, so I would assume so. Though, I mean, British last names are all over the Americas, so that's actually a really bad assumption, right? Like one of my favorite voice actors, Richard Cox, is Canadian. He would just be British Canadian.
Well, enough about this game that nobody's heard of.
Yeah, I know. It's very
or
obscure.
everybody heard of. Indeed.
Honestly, I think at this
Is
point
there anything
everybody's
that we
heard of it. Pretty much every, even people I normally watch gacha games for, we're taking a break from their gacha games to try this out because they're like, hey, we like Star Rail, let's go play a real RPG for a while.
Yeah. And hey, it's got like attractive characters for once, so
Yeah.
you know, can't complain. Visuals look really cool.
If Flitz said the more realistic look had me concerned it would be one of those interactive movie type games rather than a real game. That was my concern at the beginning of the first trailer until we hit the part where it was showing off some of the gameplay. And those concerns quickly started to fade, and they completely disappeared as I was watching people actually play this game.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of gameplay that I wish they'd done for like the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of twitchiness to it, but ultimately kind of use the same system from the original.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd want a reactive system in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I wouldn't be against them putting a reaction system in more modern games, like if they made new ones. Kingdom Hearts have had reaction systems in their action ones, so you could put that in your turn-based RPGs. But I wouldn't be against making the limit breaks more QTE, just to make them a little more interactive. They were already somewhat in the first place. Like Kate Sith had the slots, which were a little bit of QTE. You had the directional inputs for Tifa's moves as a callback to the directional inputs that Sabine had in 6. So you could make the limit breaks more QTE just to make them more interactive, fun, maybe even increase their threshold. Be like if you do it perfect, you could do even more damage than you could have originally. But otherwise, I would want the main battle system to be more or less just the ATB system, but flashier and more cinematic because
I suppose so.
RPGs are where you can be cinematic. I don't want cinema from my other games. The more mechanical a game is, the more I want to just be in control and also be able to tell what I'm doing. But in a turn-based RPG, go as cinematic as you want. Make everything an action scene, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at Honkai Star Rail. It's the battles, at least when you, which you can like set on automatic, look like, you know, the whole screen fills up with some crazy move.
Oh yeah, and every move's got like some type of animation to it, which is part of how they sell it. The only problem is like they have to keep selling you the characters because you do get tired of seeing the same 2 animations per character over and over again. It's fine. Like, I enjoy the gameplay. I kind of just ignore the animations in that game anyway, because every battle, especially the recurring challenge ones in Star Rail, it's like solving a puzzle. It's like, with this limited stuff, which team can I make that will answer this problem? But games like this, where you can have a plethora of skills, you can even have the way each character do the same skill differently, it can be more engaging for a longer period of time. And I think adding in that aiming system and having different interactions between different parts of enemies' bodies, and then also having that dodging and parry system helps make it feel even more cinematic and like your experience is constantly changing.
Mm-hmm. You have anything more to say about this one?
No, other than that, I do
Seem very
eventually.
excited about
I
this
will play it one day. It is on the list of things I will play. Whenever I do, maybe I'll stream it if it's possible. I don't know, you know. Though if I did, it'd probably have to be from the PlayStation, so I'd probably have to stream it directly to Twitch only.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Since it's not in the same room anymore.
Well, even if I could bring my laptop in there, I was having trouble getting my Elgato and laptop to work together. I think it's just part of the agingness of my laptop.
Yeah, I guess.
I could always try again. There might have been a loose connection.
Elephants in the room, or
the elephant in the room.
Yeah. The one with 175,000 active players right now.
Well, didn't we already talk about Oblivion?
I guess, but it just
I
came out.
don't know what else. Yeah, it actually came out. I don't know what there is to say that we haven't already said. It's Oblivion.
Have you watched any gameplay of that?
No, I've had zero interest.
No.
I've put like 500 hours into Oblivion. I don't. It's really hard to have me actually care about this remaster, especially when, in my opinion, it looks worse than the original. Like, it looks better in some ways, much higher detailed models, but it looks very washed compared to the original. I would rather have worse models and better saturation than what they decided to do.
Yeah, we looked at that last time, and it looked like they turned everything brown. All the grass, trees, and
Yeah.
outfits are all brown. Why do they do that? Supposed to make it look more realistic?
I guess, but like I can go outside. We're in the desert, and I can see lush green grass occasionally.
Yeah. Well, it's almost it's bumping up against Marvel rivals in terms of concurrent players. So it's interesting. It's nowhere near Counter-Strike 2, but
Is anything ever?
I really expect that. I know. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I guess the only complaint that people had was at the beginning there was the body type 1 and 2 thing instead of male and female, which is just the same droll that you expect from anything modern now.
Almost anything.
Yeah. I know
This
Nexus
game,
Mods actually
Lords of the Fallen.
originally banned
Go ahead.
a mod where they tried to reverse it. And actually, they banned an entire Chinese translation because the Chinese translation mod didn't use body type 1 or 2. They used the Chinese words for like man and woman. And then when people, specifically Chinese people, started canceling their premium subscriptions to Nexus Mods in mass, they quickly reversed that decision. Like, no. You can have your mods that change the body type 1 and 2 thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It actually
Only
pissed
the
a lot of
Chinese players?
the usual people off. But it was because Chinese players were unsubscribing en masse because they basically banned an entire Chinese translation mod because it changed the body type 1 and 2 thing as per the translation. It matched the original Chinese translation of Oblivion.
Sense. Well, of course, yeah. They'd probably go out of business if all of them
Oh,
got
yeah.
rid of their subscription. They really shouldn't come back. But no, I was going to say Lords of the Fallen is in the top 10, it looks like. Game that came out like 3 years ago. And they came out with a patch that, I don't know if there was any DLC with that, but a big update that did, among other things, change the character creator to ask for male or female. And jumped up in the ratings in Steam. Really?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people saying, like, you're a grifter if you like this game now. It's been out for years and you only liked it after it did this. Like, no. That's a person who is no longer interested. And once you fix the thing that bunked their interest, now they are. That's a big difference.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, wasn't that the whole point? Was it
No.
like you didn't like how the game was in the beginning and then they changed it? Because they did like polls.
Yeah.
Asked players about all kinds of aspects, and I think they added all kinds of new features. Yeah, you add the stuff that the gamers actually want.
It's an actual case of devs listened.
Yeah. I actually got it. It's pretty good. It is very Souls-like.
Yeah, my thing is, like, this doesn't change my interest in it because I didn't have any interest in it to begin with, but it's cool for people that it did affect their
I
interest.
hadn't even heard of it. It looked pretty good. I got it.
Yeah, Fishoso says,
Yeah,
I
with it.
don't know why the original Oblivion never was fun for him anyway. That's fine, you know, to each their own. And Flit says the best thing about the Oblivion remaster is all the people who have only played Skyrim losing their shit at all the jank in Oblivion. Yeah?
Is that one of those procedurally generated
No.
Elder Scrolls games? Or is that
No,
the
no,
one
they
before?
stopped doing that. Morrowind was the first one that wasn't procedurally generated, technically. But really, you could say Arena was such a limited game. Daggerfall was the only really procedurally generated one, where it had kind of a made map, but as you explored it, it was procedurally filled. It's still one of the largest maps in video games. And they did that for Daggerfall, and then they just went to just a fixed rendered programmed map for everything else after that.
Yeah. Oblivion even on Steam?
Yeah. I don't know if it's still for sale. I have the original on Steam. I would assume
No,
it's
I'm
still
talking
for
about
sale.
the remaster.
Oh, the remaster? I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Got very positive ratings.
Actually, the real question is, man, I don't want to do this on air because I don't know if it'll start crunching the camera. I should look at my library. This might be the first time they didn't. Well, no, actually, the first time I think was Anniversary Edition for Skyrim, but they used to have this old habit that if they remastered a game for a new generation and you already own the game, they used to just give it to you for free. And I think it's mostly because the PC player base used to be so small by comparison that they didn't feel they were losing money out on it. But now it's so big that I don't think they would ever do that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like every new edition keeps getting.
Yeah,
more
I
and more
still only have
expensive.
Game of the Year edition.
Well, I don't know how you can say that the remaster looks worse than the original. Like, it looks
I
fantastic.
said in some ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the original didn't look like this.
No, the original was crunchy.
It's pretty amazing.
It was made in 2009, you know? And people even said that Oblivion's graphics look dated for 2009 when it came out.
Flitz thinks that the sales will convince Todd to remaster Skyrim again. Well,
Instead of
I think we're going to do that anyway.
Instead of releasing the next one, yeah. Why would they ever not just keep remastering Skyrim?
I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a Switch 2 version.
Like, as much as I complain, if you could keep making money off of it, why would you not do it? You know, if people are just going to keep paying you for it, you might as well get the free money. Or, I mean, it's not free money. There's some effort put into it, but the minimal cost revenue, like return on investment, why not, right?
Yeah.
Oblivion came out in 2006. Like I said, I have the Game of the Year edition is the one that I play most of the time, which does have slightly enhanced graphics from the original 2006 edition. But yeah, actually, even in 2006, people said that the original graphics were dated too. At no point until like right now has anybody ever said that there's a version of Oblivion that didn't look dated when it came out.
Yeah, I actually do have the Game of the Year edition on Steam.
It looks slightly better than the original 2006 version. Not by a lot, but slightly.
Yeah. It's decent. It has, like, you know, World of Warcraft kind of vibe. In terms of the graphic.
Yeah.
Maybe a little better.
Of course, I mean, they've said the same thing about, I think, every Elder Scrolls from Morrowind on. Morrowind, people complain that visually it looked like a game that was already 3 years older than it was. Oblivion, they said about the same things. Skyrim, when it came out, they said this game looks 5 years older than it is when it first launched. And I mean, even now, when they keep remaking it, like the Anniversary Edition, which looks way better than the original edition, they're like, yeah, but this game looks like it's 10 years older than it is.
And people will complain about anything.
I don't think they're completely wrong, though. It does almost feel like Bethesda's always behind their target every single time. Especially with how long it's taking the Elder Scrolls 6 to come out. Like, they better really wow, because they're probably going to be behind target on that one, too.
I mean, at this point, though, I feel like the graphics are good enough for almost
Yeah.
any decent game. Is like, could they have done more, better? 4K,
Well, I think that's also
8K?
one of the reasons why Oblivion remastered, the models look as nice as they do, is because they just used Unreal to make it. Right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they do the modeling outside of Unreal, but I would gather that they've probably used some level of metahuman to fix their models. Just because they have access to it with Unreal. Because you can actually, what you could do with metahuman is there's the thing that you could take a pre-made model, you can drop it in there, and then it'll map the metahuman data onto your model, which typically looks way better than if you just use the metahuman assets that are there without dropping a model in there.
Yeah, but is that the one? I saw something where somebody was doing a tutorial on how to change the default sort of faces to decent looking faces and showing how difficult it was.
Yeah, probably.
Apparently.
The only way to actually
Yeah.
really make everything look decent is to not use the default stuff. You have to actually put in like a base model for it to mesh everything onto.
Mm-hmm.
But you could get stylized stuff that way too. So it is a flexible system. You just can't use the strictly out of the box stuff. You have to bring in some of your own things.
Right. Well, I don't know about any of that. I just do programming and that's it.
See, Flit asks, does Oblivion Remastered use the piss filter like all modern games rather than vibrant colors of the original? Yes, it kinda has a piss filter to it. Everything looks kinda brown.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Fizz Joseph says Morrowind had N64 graphics. Yeah, more or less, you know, or like PlayStation 1 level graphics. They actually used to the thing called Bethesda Face, right? Where even the first version of Skyrim had this. They had to be patched out later. They would basically perfectly mirror the face to make it easier on rendering. So there'd be like a crease down the middle of the face that you could see on every single model.
Which game is this for?
Basically the original version of Skyrim and before. All of the models kind of had like a polygon crease right down the middle.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They patched that out in like later versions, or they updated it to where it didn't have that issue anymore. It was one of those things that a lot of people just mod out. One of the things about the Elder Scrolls games, which is why a lot of people enjoy the games, but then there's people who think they enjoy them more than they actually do, is that they are the most modded games that for sale. The first thing most people do is they'll pop it in. Some people have never done vanilla runs of these games. They just immediately start modding it. Which is funny because I think maybe after I've experienced Skyrim, which I really don't ever want to go back to now, I went back and experienced it modded a little bit. But for the most part, I've really only done vanilla runs of Bethesda games. I've just really never had the desire to mod them.
Yeah, some of these mods you really got to do like research and figure out which ones are
Oh, yeah.
terrible and which ones people recommend. I wonder does this one support modding?
So I heard that it doesn't, which doesn't mean that you can't mod it. It just doesn't have mod support. And so,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, like, normally, if a game wants to allow mods, you kind of got to build some sort of APIs or something for them, don't you?
Something. But yeah, from what I've heard, this game they're intentionally making sure it doesn't have mod support, which just really feels like counterintuitive to sell a Bethesda game without mod support.
Yeah. Well, this is a weird one. Nobody knew they were working on it for until
they
what,
just
a week ago or something?
Shadow dropped it.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
But I agree with Flit on that too. And ultimately, I don't care if a game looks old or doesn't matter. I play a lot of games that intentionally have retro looks. I really only care about gameplay, which is another reason why I don't care about the Oblivion remaster. I own Oblivion, and it still works perfectly fine on my computer. I'll just go play the original or the Game of the Year edition that has all of the DLCs and stuff.
Yeah, if you've already got it, might as well.
Yeah, it's
This
not like
would be
some weird
reasonably
DOS
sure that
game
it
where
works
you need to
on the computer.
emulate it either. It just works in the a modern computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not finding much else here.
Okay, well, we do have quite a few other things. I've got a lot of other things. Most importantly, one of the things that we talked about backstage, the Switch 2 is already sold out of pre-orders at all major retailers. Not surprisingly.
Yeah, but it's so expensive. It won't
I
sell
know.
at all.
Yeah, who would buy
I
this?
don't know the game. Yeah, I'm not
It's-
too
yeah.
surprised. I'm still puzzled as to what Nintendo is up to with having people sign up for it. So
Yeah, I don't know what the
something
point of
like
that was.
Yeah.
But we have it marked as sold out on all Walmart, Target, GameStop, and Best Buy, which are the 4 major resellers for video games in the United States.
I wonder if they get as many games as they got pre-orders, or if some people just. Have
I
to wait.
think yeah, I don't know about that, but I know that they have a limited first shipment. Like they have a number. This is how much your retailer is going to get. And then you're just, boom. You can pre-order all of those if you want. Which typically they don't. They tend to only go up to like maybe 90% of what stock they're going to have because they want to keep some for the shelves. Which I think is ridiculous. Because those shelves ones get sold on day one immediately anyway. You might as well just pre-order your entire stock.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the reason Nintendo had that, if they're going to do any direct delivery or if all those ones are going to be done through Amazon or some other partner at the local country, because Amazon doesn't have pre-orders up yet. So they're not sold out. And I don't know if maybe they're waiting because Amazon is the partner that Nintendo's going to do those pre-orders through as like a delivery service.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, we'll have at least one, I think, around here somewhere.
Yeah. At least we'll be able to toy
that's
around with and see how it is.
Cool.
Oh,
What else?
Flit says, I've heard the problem with mods is that the game uses Unreal Engine 5 on top of the Creation Engine, so it's hard to mod. See, I didn't even hear that the Creation Engine was even still used. I was told that they kind of just extracted everything and remade it in Unreal 5. But if they actually did just somehow stack them on top of each other, I could see why they didn't bother to put mod support in the game whatsoever, because that sounds like a ridiculous task for the devs to do. You're just going to leave it on like the modders and Nexus mods and stuff to figure some way of compiling it in.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious, I guess I'll never know, to see how their code was organized, how easy it would have been or would be to just rip out the gameplay and place only the...
If Fishiso says, no, the programmers at Bethesda just suck. I don't think these two statements are mutually exclusive from each other. Just, I think they can both be true. I think a part of them sucking could be deciding to do that decision in the first place. You'll never hear me say that the programmers at Bethesda don't suck. They have a long track record of that, so...
Indeed.
Yeah, but yeah, so, good luck with trying to get your Switch 2. Honestly, it's probably for the best, right? I know everybody wants the console right away. Do we remember the launch of the Switch? Because I know my mom's was fine for as long as she had it. She ended up selling her original one and getting another one later because she had drug issues and pawned things off very frequently. But the launch of the Switch wasn't really good. There were a lot of just like Switches that came out broken out of the box during the launch period. Like a pretty high portion of them.
I remember that.
It's like, do you really want a launch Switch 2, or do you want to wait a couple months?
Yeah, I might wait a little while. Not too long.
Yeah. You pretty much, I think the window that you have
like
is...
broken in half.
Yeah, those were awful. But some of them, like, the screens weren't working either. Even if they weren't broken, like, it would just be lines when you turned it on.
Oh, yeah. I think I had that.
Yeah.
I feel like my first Switch had like a line on it, and I had to return it. I remember, unless
I don't know,
a
man.
new story, but
yeah, no, I would see some of them were just lines too. Like it would vary in severity.
Yeah. I think mine just had one or two very thin vertical lines.
Flitz is so much for voting with your wallets, right, gamers? Come on, we've talked about this too.
Oh,
Nintendo fans are easy. Like this was ever going to be any different.
Yeah, well, we're voting for what we want because you don't like the vote.
Yeah,
doesn't make it any less legitimate.
But it's the actual window that I guess everybody has, I want to say, is the Mario Kart bundle window, which is going to end this fall. So pretty much it's like, you don't want to wait too long, but you have all summer, And not just you particularly, but anybody listening. Like, you have all summer to get your launch Switch.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question is this bundle going to be limited availability? And how limited are we talking?
Maybe. I don't know. So Nintendo usually, when they have a date limit for a bundle, they will just keep producing it until the cutoff date. So like you could still buy it if it's still sitting in a store after that, but they'll keep restocking and producing until that date gets cut off. That's how they did it with like all the 3DS bundles and whatnot. So I don't know how they're going to do it this time, if they're going to change their practices or not.
But you can get the digital version even if you buy digital, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we figure that out?
I think so, yeah. The thing is right now, too, is the Mario Kart game, which everybody was complaining is too expensive on its own, only get it with the bundle, is hard to purchase because of the huge traffic of people trying to pre-order that game on its own. So people are willing to pay full price for that game. They're like, this is not an $80 game. Well, the market says otherwise.
Yeah. With whatever you can sell it for. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, I'm waiting for my copy of Mighty Golden Patriot.
Yeah, that should
goes on sale tomorrow.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Well, it goes in pre-order sale tomorrow, right? So, which I guess is kind of just how they're going to be doing the whole system. I don't know if they'll keep stock afterwards or not. But that doesn't mean that we'll get it within a week or whatever. It's like, it's pre-order, and then they'll have an actual launch date in which this is the date things will be mailed out from. And then maybe you have to wait anywhere up to a week for it to be mailed after they start doing that.
Yeah. Could be.
But it is exciting.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Oh, it looks great. And Flit says, I mean, I don't care. I'm never buying a Switch. I just don't want to hear anyone complain about prices ever again. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I don't think I ever have.
No, people always complain about prices. The thing is, though, the people who complain the most about prices are the people who, for the most part, just aren't going to buy it anyway. Like, they were never really the customers. Or they're the people who are complaining about the side of their mouths as they pay for it. Those are the two that you get, right? Which, honestly, that's kind of me. I'm like, that old man is like, I can't believe you're charging me this for... Okay, whatever. I mean, they're the same guy that's like, I hate that dog while I'm petting the dog. I'm never gonna like the family dog. Sitting here petting it the whole time.
Yeah. Two people have already platinumed Oblivion Remastered.
That's sad. I feel sorry for them. Maybe they should go outside and touch some grass so they can see how the Oblivion grass doesn't actually match it in color.
Yeah, maybe they thought nobody would notice. So.
Yeah, because they're just so terminally online that they don't know what grass looks like anymore. Let's see. What else? I had some other things to talk about. Apparently, the Tears of the Kingdom and other games might actually support cloud saves after all, and it might have just been an error on Nintendo's end. It's still kind of hard to tell, but a lot of the disclaimers have been changed, which new ones that clarify the situation.
That's good, because I don't know how else you would transfer them to this. Well, we talked about it. Thought maybe you just have to start from scratch if you have like a...
Yeah. Well, I think the clarification...
Theoretically, if you have a hardware...
Right. Or the miscommunication in the first place might have been a translation error. And it was trying to basically tell you that you can't go backwards. You cannot transfer stuff from the new version to the Switch. And they didn't bother to actually say that that was the case. So you can go forward. You could go from the Switch to the Switch 2 version, but you can't go from the Switch 2 to the Switch version, which makes total sense, especially since there'll be new stuff in the Switch 2 version that doesn't exist in the original, so the save files wouldn't be completely compatible.
Yeah, it's not forwards compatible.
Yeah. But that seems to be where the entire confusion came from. Nintendo is kind of saying, sorry guys, that's on us. But that kind of lines up with everything else, because like I said on the first day, it looked like there was a lot of information that wasn't properly translated. Like they weren't ready on their websites, and they kind of just like copy-paste machine translated stuff from the Japanese site. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was just another case of that.
Yeah. Don't know. I just remember with 3DS, it was a very nice kind of fun process because I had neat little.
I like that the
animations going across
Pikmin carrying the
3DS.
blocks from one to the other was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if even. I don't know if I even knew what those were when I did that. DSi to the 3DS.
I only did it from one 3DS to the other because I had to change my launch 3DS over to my new 3DS.
Right. Oh, I guess I did it for that too. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they allow you to upgrade but not go back the other way.
I'm trying to figure out what to... Oh, so Nintendo is trying to subpoena Discord over that massive Pokemon leak that happened because they want the personal information of the people who leaked it. And Discord won't give it to them without a subpoena, which is fair, honestly. I would probably be the same way. Which Discord's going downhill, but you know they can have a few base things that they do here and there as they go downhill.
Wasn't it just a guy just looking on the website and sort of discovering that you could go directly to the folder of another image?
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of.
But it was a huge leak, and they posted everything in Discord, and that's how like everybody else got a hold of it. And now they want the dude's personal information. So, you know, good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll see if Discord complies with that one.
They probably will, honestly. They just actually, the head, the old CEO of Discord just stepped back for a board role, and some new guy stepped in because they're planning on potentially going public sooner or later. And like, oh man, if Discord hasn't been killing itself as it is with all these unnecessary updates and not even fixing their main services, I can only imagine how much worse it's going to get once they eventually go public.
Yeah.
Maybe though, it'll be
Yeah.
driven to better in
Have
some
to cater.
degrees because of Sony might be pushing them. They do have a partnership with Discord. And Discord is one of the main communication platforms on PlayStation. Right now, you can't screen share with PlayStation through Discord. I think that's kind of stupid that they never set that up. But now that Nintendo put off their internal screen sharing communication platform for the Switch 2, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's like, hey, Discord, get this working in our end. We need something.
Nintendo?
No, if Sony said that in response, because like,
Oh.
you know, they're competing with Nintendo. It's like Nintendo's got their shitty screen share that's like 7 frames per second at like 240p. We could get us something. Anything you do has to be better than that. We need to compete.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see the future being good for Discord. That's okay. If it does go down in flames, I have had this entire time multiple backups, one including a gilded server that we can always shift to if we have to. But we have options. We're not completely tied to Discord forever.
Mm-hmm. We don't use Restream anyway?
We do use Restream, but we use Restream from my OBS, so we still need some type of video connection. I mean, I guess we could connect in Restream itself, but that's about as bad as connecting in StreamYard, which I also hate.
Yeah.
So I would prefer us just to be inside of some type of video communication software that's dedicated to that, and then I do the streaming from OBS when possible.
Yeah, I've tried like Rumble Studio, and it's terrible for streaming anything.
Yeah.
It's barely functional when it's just you on screen.
Let alone trying to get other people in.
Nightmare. Oh, this is interesting. Small Oblivion remastered change is disappointing to Moji players. They're disappointed with this isn't small. Removal of physics from a lamp. Oh, okay. The remastered version. Just from one lamp?
I guess.
Weird. Okay.
TeamSpeak 2 Return of the King. God. I used to use TeamSpeak 3 a lot back in the day.
I guess Skype is no longer
Skype's dead.
with us.
It's like, I think it's phased out at the end of the month. Another alternative I used to use, there was one called, I think it was Raid Chat or something like that. That one's gone too. That was like a pre-Discord. That was an alternative to TeamSpeak. That functioned a lot like Discord, and I think it just died because of lack of support. Everybody just started using Discord.
Yeah. Well, you could use an alternative, but
There's plenty.
here we are for now.
The weird thing about Gilded, which I like Gilded overall, but it's probably going to go downhill fast too, because it's got a partnership with Roblox and a lot of Roblox integration. Like, I can't see this going well in the future.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. Let's just go back to
it seems like
Vent. Is
seems
Ventrilo
like
still
Roblox
running?
has a lot more staying power. Yeah. I don't know. Feels like they have a lot more staying power than things like Second Life.
Oh, for sure.
Even though it's kind of similar premise.
Oh, no. I don't think the problem is that Roblox is going anywhere. I think the influence that it would have on the service is the issue.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Oh, yeah, I know about Matrix. Yeah, you'd have to be pretty down bad if you're considering Matrix. I've had a few different communication platforms over the years. I don't even know the names of all of them. Pretty much, though, if a new one comes up, I usually sign up for it real quick, just so I make sure that I have my user and everything, and then I just stop using it.
So is that true now? Like if I have a Gilded account, but now I need to tie it to a Roblox account?
No, you don't have to. It's just everything's integrated now.
Okay. I haven't used it in forever. I think I'm only joined to one channel.
Yeah, well, I think it's just our backup channel. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
But I don't know. If they're making you make a Roblox account now, I don't know if they're making you though. Like, can't you use your Gilded as a Roblox login? Doesn't it go both ways? If I open it up and I have to make a Roblox account, that would just be it. Like, I wouldn't use it.
Yeah. I open up mine like every 3 or 4 months.
I mean, I have it on my phone, but I haven't opened it in forever. Let's see if it yells at me. Well, we'll do some research right now. It's not.
All right, sir.
Yeah. It's still functioning just the way it did last time I used it.
I don't know if I can remember. I probably am logged out. I don't know if that's popular or not. I mean, I guess you could go through that and still broadcast to YouTube and stuff, right?
Well, that's exactly what we'd be doing. We would change nothing for us. We would just be using it as a video call.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think. I am looking at her stuff. I don't know if there's anything worth talking about at the end. But I guess, you know what? Hey, we were talking about Bethesda today. This is kind of in line, so we can go with it. Tim Kaine came out and said that he was ordered to destroy his entire personal archive of the Fallout RPG development. Like every archive of like the assets and stuff. And he was basically explaining that there are individuals and organizations in the video game industry that are just actively working against the preservation of video games. And we're talking 30 years of history were in those backup tapes.
Yeah. Like, what's the point even? Because they don't like the lack of a message in the older games?
I don't know.
They're actually holding on to the IP for some reason.
I think it's because they're demanding to be the archive keeper. They don't for like copyright control sakes, they want to be the only ones to have the archives. It's just that they're all doing a piss poor job at it.
Yeah. Let's leave it to the people who have proved themselves. Look at GOG. That used to be a piracy website, right?
Was that originally piracy? I think so.
I believe so.
I know it was all about being DRM free, regardless, which is something pirates care about a lot. So I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Just like how Crunchyroll was a anime pirate site.
Yeah, that one I know for a fact was a piracy site originally. And that we can never let them live it down. Ever. Because they want you to forget.
Yeah. Ooh, lockpicking in Oblivion looks very different.
Yeah, I agree with Flit too. I'd still 100% have a backup. You have to prove that I don't. I'd go and make another backup of the backup. Bury it somewhere in like a environmentally secure chest or whatever. And then show them that I'm deleting the ones that they think are the actual backups. I don't care. There would be a backup that retains.
Oh yeah. I don't know how they could prove otherwise.
What are you gonna do?
Guys
You gonna have some feds monitor my house for like 3 weeks straight until you're sure I don't have any backups?
Like what? Why would you even take them out of the house? There's no reason.
Mm-hmm. Like, sir, there's suspiciously, it looks like this carpet's been cut here, and that the foundation is different in this spot of the house than the rest of it. Yeah, no, it's been like that for years.
Ignore that. Nothing.
Yeah. We had to do some foundation work there. That's why it's different. It's not new at all.
You can probably keep them all on some teeny tiny drive that holds.
Oh, yeah.
Terabytes upon terabytes.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, hey, we are at the end of the show.
Slow news day, it seems like.
Yeah, actually, I don't think it's that slow, really. It's just... It's not really a lot of interesting. Like I had other things to talk about, but then I look back over them, I'm like, do I care that much?
Yeah, I got nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll get more sleep before next time. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like Stop Killing Games
say that.
has reached over 437,000 signatures. Ubisoft looked at it and their only response is, "We've been reading your comments." That's it. That's all they said.
Yeah, and laughing at them, but
yeah,
at least we read them. Well,
womp womp.
I've been playing Arcade Paradise, and I'm
a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit. Managed to replace most of my laundromat with an arcade, so you gotta expand that sucker out. It's fun game.
Yeah. Well, we also are gonna get you started on an RPG series you never got into, because the original Phantasy Star is on Switch for like nothing.
Yeah, well, it's been on Switch for 7 years, and I had no idea. But yeah, I bought it last night for 77 cents after using all my gold points. I played a bit of it. Did you play something yesterday?
Yeah. I played
No,
some.
you bought it too. Yeah. I don't. I guess it's just a lot of grinding at first because
Yeah.
I can't upgrade my stuff very much, and I almost got killed by a mermaid man or merman.
Oh, it's rough at first, right? Because you have to run from almost everything.
Yeah.
You can only fight like the weaker dragonflies until you're strong enough. Then you can fight the scorpions, and you gotta like progressively get through. But you're gonna run into them anyways. So it's like, oh, I can't fight these things yet. I just gotta run.
Yeah, I did kill a man-eater, which gave me like 52 of the coins.
Yeah, the Mesta.
Yeah.
So I like that they're still using that. If you play Phantasy Star Online 2, the currency is still Mesta.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Cool. Well, but so I've got all the lowest level gear to play a little bit more of it. That's Phantasy Star 1 for the Sega Master.
Now,
On Switch now.
Yeah, you can venture out, though. There is a little bit of a space. Obviously, the main goal at first is to be let into the spaceport so you can go to the other planets. But it does take you quite a long time of adventuring before they let you into the spaceport.
I was wondering about that because
Yeah.
it won't let me in. And I went in a tunnel and found a treasure chest, but that was it.
Yeah, the tunnel's empty. There's no like encounters in there or anything. You go to another dead end. It's only there basically as a tutorial to be like, this is what dungeons are like. It looks different than roaming the overworld
Sort of.
map.
Yeah.
Like a wizardry dungeon.
Flip says recommending a game with tons of replay value.
Well, he asked if Fallout New Vegas is worth a try, which it is. It's probably maybe the second best Fallout game. I don't know. Second best is either that or the first one. I think Fallout 2 is the best one, and I think it beats the other ones. But
I think Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. I know I've played through them many times. Pretty fun.
And if you want a game with a ton of replay value, there's a turn-based RPG that we were just talking about last night. I don't know if you've ever played the classic Suikoden. But you don't even have to get one of the remasters that came out recently. Just go play Suikoden. There's so many characters that even though you're playing through the same campaign, it feels like you're playing a different game every single time because there's like 100 characters in it.
Yeah. Oh, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster dropped below PUBG. Well, I gotta go take a nap.
Yeah. And the show's over. I was just trying to see if we had any wrap-up thoughts, but I guess that's fine. Thank you guys for watching. And if you enjoy the show, please share it out with somebody else. Get more people here, whether it's live or in the VOD. And if you really enjoy it, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitoriumlive. Even if you donate after the show, I'll read it next time. Don't worry, it won't go to waste. And we'll see you guys no later than Monday. Though I might stream tomorrow because I desperately need to get that account available to get the anniversary rewards for Star Rail. So you might see me tomorrow anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, or tonight. I don't know. It depends. I might hop back on later tonight. Who knows? See you guys.
Bye.